Welcome back to another video. Well, it's been a while since we talked about some mining stuff. I thought I'd do another little video, some fun stuff and just some, I guess, topics of discussion. A heap of questions and things going on. It's definitely changing. So today we're going to talk about, is mining dying by the things that feed it? It sounds a bit weird, the concept, but what I mean by that is it the overall greed for money and all these other things that we're going to talk about? Is that what's making it not a fun place to be anymore, I guess, for a lot of people? So lots to discuss. There's been heaps of questions, so thank you to everyone in the past videos that have come in. It's just been an overwhelming response. So I thought I had heaps of people asking if I was doing any more videos on it, so I thought I'd do something sort of similar lines to the last one, but a little bit different, a little bit more fun. Some fun things to talk about. And on that note, let's hit that intro. Mining, is it dying by the hand that feeds it, or by what feeds it? And that means, what I mean by that is the stock market. That's the thing I seem to look at. If you go to the bigger picture and the bigger picture and the bigger picture, is mining's overwhelming need to give shareholder profit and keep constantly making more than last year, and that's seems to be the overwhelming desire that they require. It's not how much they make. It seems to be just they need more, no matter what the amount. It doesn't matter if it's $50 or 10 billion. The stock market only wants to know that you're making more than you did last time. To see constant improvement, I guess, is the way to look at it. And look, and that's what we all want. We all want to make constant improvement in our lives and in what we do, and I understand that, and that's a good thing. But when you're these massive global companies, and they just constantly make billions upon billions, and I think billions become a weird term now, because it used to be millionaires and now it's just billionaires. And when you look at billions of dollars, if one mine can make $5 to $6 billion net profit every year for 10 years, that's like $5,000 million net profit after that's a massive amount of money. So it's not how much they make, it's the fact that they just need to make more. And I think that's probably the overwhelming thing that I've, in my thoughts, personal opinion of course, is what makes it tough in mining, or in any big company. It doesn't matter what company or what thing. All the Amazon and all these other ones, they're all exactly the same. They all need to make more. It's not greed, it's just the way the stock market works. And unfortunately, the stock market is our superannuation funds. So it's our own necessity to put money away to retire to that leads us to not being able to afford anything. Probably, I'm definitely no economic expert, but that seems to be what keeps happening, and what I believe is the overwhelming, if you look at the way it all works, the big picture. So I think and mining's at that stage where the fact that, well, it's not the fact that they make billions of dollars a year, they've still got to cut costs because they're going to make more than last year. And that seems to be the number one big issue. And number two on my little list of notes I've got here that I've sat down and think about is compliance, not performance. So what that means is, it seems like compliance to the overall agenda is more important than actual performance of getting dirt out of the ground. Does that make sense? So we're more concerned nowadays with safety protocols, paper work, crossing the I's, dotting the T's, DEIs, everything that everyone whinges about. That all comes down to needing to comply with that, instead of focusing on how do we get better at turning, unfortunately, that beautiful iron ore range into steel and getting the most dirt out of the ground for the least cost and making the most profit. That doesn't matter anymore. It's all about compliance to plan, and that seems to be the biggest one that I've found. What do you think? So compliance performance, and that's what they talk about, the culture change. And I've seen it in the 15 years that I've been in mining. You can see that this change from having skilled workers that know what they're doing, people with 20, 30 years experience, overlooking these guys to make sure that they don't get hurt. They know what they're doing, teaching them the right way to do stuff. That's not in the book, that's not in the slideshow, but it's actually the right way to do it. That's gone. And now it's all been replaced with iPads, JHAs, or work instructions, 500 tons of paperwork, all computer based, given to people that predominantly and easily never finished high school or weren't any good at high school. So they're not good at paperwork, they're not good at computers, and that's us, that's me. I was terrible at school, that's why I'm doing this. No one here, no one in mining is a rocket scientist. No one, we're all here, not by choice, but to feed our families. And we're doing the best we can to do that. So I think, unfortunately, that the culture change they're after is more aimed at themselves and not at the people that actually do the job. And that's where that culture's got to change. That is my favourite view, that mountain range. What a view. It's going to be one day when I leave here, when I don't get to see this beautiful mountain range. It's going to be sad. It is a sight to behold every time I come back to site. And something I do enjoy. I've been here a quarter of my life on this mine. So yeah, I do love the Pilbara. It is a beautiful spot. It's harsh and desolate and bloody hot in summer. Mid to high 50s. It's never good, but and the flies are just atrocious. But that is awesome. Sorry, I digress. Too many mouths to feed. So what I mean by that is, well, I think there used to be like 400 mines in WA alone. Now they're all over Australia, Queensland, NT, New South Wales, Hunter Valley, South Australia's picking up as well. The demand for skilled workers is bigger than the pool it's drinking from. Too many mouths to feed. There is an abundance of work, but unfortunately those mines are pushing forward due to shareholder need for more, got to have more. But there's not enough skilled tradespeople to do it. Now, in my day, having a trade was a guaranteed way, so you'd always have a job, and you'd always be able to put food on the table and provide for your family and buy a house. Whew, that's getting tricky, isn't it? Don't we all know that? No longer is mining providing, it's barely providing that now. The wages haven't increased in a long time. For example, when I used to, in late 90s, I went to Groote Island, one of the first mine sites I'd ever went to. It used to be owned by Gemco, and the lowest paid worker on site was on 115 grand a year in the 90s. 115,000 Australian dollars a year in 97, I think it was, first time I got there. Now my wage at field service, and I was pulling 80 to 100 hours a week, that year I earned 60 grand, to give you a perspective. So I was averaging about 80. Now I do 84 hours a week here while on swing. Obviously with the R&R it comes down to average, but we basically do double. We do roughly 60, 70 hours a week, 60 odd hours a week if you go over the whole year. And the base minimum wage in mining is about 115 grand. Funny that, isn't it? In 30 years, or 20, at least 25 years, the minimum wage in a mine site is still the same. But they say, so the wages are definitely not going up. They haven't gone up. They've stayed at a decent wage. It's not I'm not desolate, but it definitely hasn't gone up. So, and now there's even less of us. There's less there's less diesel mechanics. No one's doing that. It's a heavy, dirty trade. People are getting into. There's more electronics into it. Auto sparkies and HV sparkies are fantastic, but you've got to really be switched on. It's not something anyone can be just taught. You've got to have a fair bit of nous to be a sparky. Wiring diagrams, voltages, especially HV, that stuff will kill you real quick. So some trades you just can't just have traineeships and all that, so that it's just very hard to get enough people to feed the pool. Okay, not sure if you can see, but straight over the back over here is Mount Meharry, the tallest peak in WA. So taller than Mount Bluff or Bluff Knoll, and always enjoy walking past here and getting to look at it. It's probably about 20 k's from here, 20-30 k's. You can drive just about to the top of it. There's a driving track, and then I think you've only got to walk the last kilometre or two to the actual peak. But things like this out in the Pilbara are just amazing. You think of it as a desert, but then you see these amazing mountain ranges and out here, and it's pretty wild to check it out. Overweight at the top. Now, what I mean by that is that in the boom in the 2000s, when mining went crazy and trying to get everyone in to make all this money, when the world was surging ahead and building and growing, and China was growing, a lot of good and smart people come to the business. Well, you've got to have job progression, don't you? In a job, something you sort of look forward to. At some stage, you're going to get bored of what you're doing and have some sort of development or somewhere to go or some way to get better for yourself. Like the business has got to sell more. Sometimes we need to get better and have a new adventure or a new challenge. And that can get problems when there's so many people at the top and nowhere for them to go. They either need to leave the industry, or they get stuck in a rut and stuck in a building in Perth or Brisbane or Sydney or Melbourne, wherever they are in the world, and just sit there and sort of get some sort of job and basically retire. And so then you just have this glut of these very intelligent people, very smart, and know how to mine and do all this stuff, and there's nowhere for them to go. So that's something I guess the industry has to tackle, because I've seen it here. I've seen people go from here, managers leave and go to Perth, and then the next time you hear them, they're doing some desk job, sending emails out about getting a service, or just basic stuff that really is not something that I guess their ambition would have been focused on when they thought they were going up the ladder. So that's something tricky, and there is a lot of that, and there's only so many jobs at the top, and I think that top's now full from the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s. They've filled all the top, and it's too heavy, and now there's nowhere for anyone to go. Are we all doomed? Definitely in Australia, and I'm sure it's the same everywhere else. Everyone's struggling a bit at the moment. Doesn't seem to be good. This house prices are through the roof, just absolutely crazy. Price of land's just mental, especially in Australia where we have so much land. I don't understand that. Talking about supply and demand, they can't build the houses quick enough here to put up for the demand for the people that we've got that want a house, so the prices go through the roof. I can understand the housing side. Someone needs to explain to me why land is so expensive. Because yes, the housing is a trades-based issue, but the cost of the land's already here. This stuff, it's already here. We already own that. That's not a demand, a supply issue. We've got tons of it. So that and because of that greed in the housing and whatever and all the other things with supply and demand, seems to be a bit of a slowdown, and China's slowing down. So China's not booming like it was. It's still going well. I'm sure most countries would like to be China, but that also in effect then affects everyone else. So is it going to last? The iron ore prices come down in the last 6 months, still way above what it costs to produce. Most of the big miners only cost $20 or around $20 to get it to make the ore. So anything above that's profit. So they're still making money. The future is bright. Do we need to change? I do think mining's never going to stop. It's always been around since first getting the Bronze Age, the whole age named after mining, finding metals and materials to mine the earth. But I think we're going to change. What that change is, better man than me have guessed. I've looked into graphene, what most people believe could replace steel. The technology isn't there yet. They've been trying to get there for many years, definitely. It looks like an amazing product. It's the most abundant element in the universe, so it's pretty readily available. Once they work it out, trying to do nanotubes and all that sort of stuff with graphene. So the future is there. I think it's just not going to be the stuff that we mine now. We can see that already with batteries. The battery boom's dying at a fast rate. They've realised that batteries alone in a car just doesn't work. Hybrids going to be a lot better, having the ability, because you just can't charge a battery quick enough. It doesn't go far enough distance, and funnily enough, there's no sun at night, as we've seen in some videos on TikTok and other things, so you get those. So I think they've finally realised that they need to change in that respect. That's now also already affected nickel and batteries and lithium and all those products in mining. So that's slowed them down. That's going to help out a little bit, I think, with that demand shortage we talked about in the skills sector. It's a pretty tricky balance, a fine balance, I guess, to make it all work and get the right thing. So that's probably going to help. That's been booming for the last 10 years and now slowing. Steel stayed pretty much stagnant until they get things like graphene or whatever else they can work out to do. Steel will still be king. So we've got a long way to go. So that it is positive. There's always going to be jobs. What those jobs look like, how they pay is the tricky part. And we've seen it with mineral resources. They're one of the only companies that's sort of realised looking after your workers can actually improve company profits. So they've now got these resort style hotel rooms with washing machines in big rooms, queen size beds, your own room. Realise you need good food when you're on site doing 12.5 hours a day in the sun. Good tuck is important. So there are a few companies that have got some positives going for them. So that's a good thing for all of us. That's going to change. The union, you read about all the unions at the mine sites currently. There's a heap going on up north or up here. How that plays out, I guess, is going to determine a lot of futures for a lot of people, including myself. We've got things going here that I can't really discuss, but it's definitely going to affect my future and my family's future. And to say it's not scary is, yeah, well, it is. We're done and dusted from this beautiful part of the Pilbara. Hope you enjoyed those little discussion points, a little something different and something to think about, I guess. It's always good to have a good discussion. That's always healthy. You're going to get good opinions, you're going to get bad opinions. You might not agree with my opinions. I'm no economist, but I do have a lot of experience. I've been here in this beautiful mine for a quarter of my life, which knocks my socks off every time I think about it. And my only reason I'm here is to feed my family, to give us a chance to have a house and all those things those old values that I grew up with. That's what I'm after. I've had my fun, I've played my sport and done all that stuff before I even got here. So now it's my turn to give my son the opportunity to do those things. So that's why I come here. Where the mining industry's going, I think the last 10 years it hasn't been going the right direction. I think there's some positives. Things like what Mineral Resources are doing, where they're trying to change accommodation and food to make it a little bit more comfortable for people that live away and work out here. And also, I think with the battery slowing down and going back to probably what it should be, a little bit more common sense and more hybrid style engines and cars, because the batteries just can't work. I think even the Rio boss at the battery convention last year said even if they open for the next 10 years, opened every battery mine in the world, there wouldn't be enough to allow the production that they need. It'd only be half. So I think going down the hybrid line is definitely the way forward. They've cottoned on to that, which is good, before it was too late, before they stopped making ICE cars in 2030. That was going to be a bit of a disaster. That's going to allow maybe some more skilled people to fill the gaps on all the other mine sites. So that's probably going to help take a little bit of this pressure off everyone, which is good. And the iron ore is still kicking away. Rightio, thanks for stopping by. If you enjoyed this, hit a like, subscribe and all that fun stuff, and I will see you next time. Bit of an annual mining video just to keep you up to date with what's happening out here. Yeah. Hope you enjoyed it. Some good conversation points. Whether you like them or not, I'm happy to take either. I have to take the good with the bad. That's life, and it's always a healthy discussion is always a good discussion, I think. So hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for stopping by. And from here in the Pilbara, I'll see you all next time. Stay safe. Peace.